everyone. Well, we have made it to the last class after 3 Mondays. We just have been studying the Seventh-day Adventist history, going through a lot of information. But again, this is just to give you a glimpse of all you can get from all of our resources and books in our church. So today we are going to be touching the last 2 points of the honor, at least of our part, because the last 3 are research you have to do. And at the end, I have a little game for all of you. So I hope you have been studying and doing the research and remembering what we discussed. So we'll do a Kahoot at the end. It's just like 10 questions. It's a short Kahoot, but I have a gift for the winner of the Kahoot. So, but that is gonna be towards the end. So let me just share the presentation for this evening. Please let me know if you can see it. Are you seeing it or?
See it.
Yes? Okay, perfect. So again, we are going to be on the last point number 6 and 7. That is what we are going to be discussing this night. So we're going to start with number 6, which is miscellaneous topic. It says, tell the importance of at least 10 of the following locations, organizations, or concepts, or their equivalent. So here, I think it's 14 of those things, but you have to at least know 10 of them. All right. So we're gonna go through the ones we have on the sheet, on the honor. All right. So the letter A, we have Avondale College. It was founded in 1897. Since 2021, it's named Avondale University. And this is it was established under the guidance of Ellen G. White to serve as a model for Adventist education, emphasizing both spiritual and academic development. So this was in Australia while she was working over there. And the difference between this college and other college was that include on the curriculum practical skills and missionary training. So not just, academic learning, but it also includes the practical part. So it aimed to train individuals for Christian service and worldwide mission, departing from the more academic focus on other Adventist institutions like the one in Battle Creek and others, or Loma Linda. So Avondale played a crucial role in the growth of the Adventist Church in the South Pacific region, which is again in Australia. Okay, so that was one of the few schools we have in which Ellen G. White involved herself. All right. Letter B, we have the Battle Creek Sanitarium, which we talk already much on this location. So on September 5th, 1866, the institute was formally opened with 2 doctors, 2 bath attendants, 1 nurse, which was untrained, and 3 or 4 helpers. And they opened with 1 patient. At that time, there was room available for only 12 patients, but as time developed, it became a big and a huge structure for the Adventist health of our church. So this was the first of many Adventist health institutions embodying the core principles of Adventist healthcare. So they were treating the physical, emotional, and spiritual needs of individuals. So this place holds significant importance due to its role in pioneering a holistic approach to health and wellness that is still foundational to Adventist healthcare practices today. So all those 8 laws of health, like breathing, taking water, sleeping well, all those were included in this program So it was something different that was found in other regular hospitals. So the sanitarians pioneered methods such as hydrotherapy and innovative dietary approaches were revolutionary for the time and laid the groundwork for modern wellness practices. So the sanitarian is also credited with popularizing vegetarianism and health foods at that time. All right, so again, one of main places in Adventist heritage. Letter C, we have the Dime Tabernacle. Actually, that is a picture of that church, okay? So the tabernacle was the fourth Seventh-day Adventist church to be built in Battle Creek, Michigan. It was dedicated on April 20, 1879, and could accommodate 4,000 worshippers. But you may be wondering why it's called Dime Tabernacle, Dime. So the unusual name comes from the way money was raised to build the church. James White suggests that all members donate a dime per month for 1 year to pay for the building. So all the members did that, 10 cents a month. Of course, right now that is nothing, but at that time that was a lot. So they built this church. So it's significant as the church built through the collective small donations of members and the wider community, symbolizing unity and shared purpose. So it represents a tangible expression of faith and commitment to building a space for worship and community engagement. So the dime concept suggested by James White encouraged widespread participation, demonstrated that even a small regular contribution could collectively fund a significant project. But the original structure was destroyed by fire in 1922. All right, so but that is the Dime Tabernacle. Letter D, we have the Norse Bok Forlag, which means the Norwegian publishing house, which has been a primary tool for the church in Norway in reaching out to the general public and in nurturing members spiritually. So in 1872, John Matheson began Advent Tident, which we talked when we were talking about the publications. So that was the first non-English Adventist periodical ever. In 1877, Matheson moved back to Denmark, starting an evangelistic series there, and in 1878, he went to Norway. So his meetings produced great interest in the capital, Christiania, which is now Oslo, and in January 1879, he began to publish an 8-page weekly magazine called Tidernes 10, which is Signs of the Time, which later named Tidens Tale. Okay, so it was the first Adventist publishing house established outside the United States. So they also have a student literary evangelism program, which ran for 58 years and allowed foreign students to earn money for tuition while also spreading Adventist literature. All right, so that is the Norg Bulk Forlag. Letter E, we have the Pitcairn missionary ship. So in the 80s, James White and John Lobrow shipped some SDA literature to Pitcairn, arousing sufficient interest to prompt a visit by John Tay. So John Tay in 1886, as a self-supporting missionary, made his way to the island on a British man-of-war and remained 5 weeks, convincing the islanders to observe Saturday instead of Sunday. So the Pitcairn was the first boat that was owned and operated by the SDA Church. So it sailed from San Francisco on October 1890 and sailed for 35 days to the South Pacific island Pitcairn, arriving on November 25th. So within the first 3 weeks of arriving, the missionaries baptized 82 people on that island. So the ship's primary purpose was to transport missionaries to various Pacific islands, including Pitcairn, the Society Islands, Cook Islands, Samoa, Tonga, and Fiji. So that was the name of the first owned ship of the SDA Church. Letter F, we have the Sabbath Conference. Right at the beginning, and we talk about this in the Millerite movement, they held meetings called the Sabbath Conference, where they basically taught the people. Uh, It were like camp meetings or convocations or some kind of gatherings. So this play a major role in uniting the Adventists, which were scattered all over after the 1844 Great Disappointment. So it served as a powerful tool for education, inspiration, and spiritual renewal by fostering a deeper understanding of the church history, values, and mission. So this conference also provide opportunities to reflect on God's leading in the past, connect with the church pioneers, and inspire current members to continue the Adventist mission. And even and up to today, we still do this conference. We have like in our conference, we have the English camp meeting, the Hispanic camp meeting, the Asian camp meeting, the United camp meeting, the Luso-Brazilian camp meeting, the Korean camp meeting. So we do still these gatherings as they used to do at the beginning. All right. Letter G, we have the Sanitarium Health Food Company. Um, it is Australia's first health food company, pioneering the production and distribution of plant-based food options and contributing to the growth of the health food industry. So Sanitarium was registered as a business on April 27, 1898. According to the history of them, Sanitarium was founded with the core purpose of helping Australians to eat well and live well. So founded by Adventists, it began in a neighborhood bakery in Northcote, Melbourne, after a small group of Seventh-day Adventists immigrated from Battle Creek, Michigan, bringing foods made by John Harvey Kellogg for patients at his health institute. So in 1898, Edward Halsey commenced making the company's first ready-to-eat cereals, including granolas with biscuits, a forerunner to Weet-Bix, and Sanitarium peanut butter. So basically, they were the first to introduce breakfast cereal and pioneer innovative soy foods and promote plant-based eating long before it became popular. So this is one of the main companies of the SDA Church promoting this. Right now, we have many of them here in the United States and in other countries, but this was the pioneering. All right. Letter H, we have the Solusi College. This was the first Adventist mission in Zimbabwe, established in 1894, and its subsequent development into a prominent educational institution. So it served as a crucial center for spreading Adventist beliefs and practices across Southern Africa. Initially focused on training missionaries, it later evolved into a college and then a university, contributing significantly to the education of Adventist church workers and leaders in the region. So one of the first actually in the African continent. All right, so Lucy College. Letter I, we have the systematic benevolence. I'm pretty sure you have heard that concept, but if it's the first time you're hearing, basically this is a practice of making regular contribution to the church. It applied to the method of financing evangelistic work from the late 1850s to the late 1870s and became the precursor of the modern tithing system. So it's a core principle in SDH Heritage, emphasizing regular and proportional giving to support church ministries and alleviate the needs of others. So this practice, rooted in biblical principles, is seen as a way to express gratitude to God and participate in his mission of sharing the gospel. So systematic benevolence extends beyond financial support for the church, encompassing care for the poor, elderly, widows, and others in need. The first guideline was that men between 18 and 60 years of age should set aside 5 to 25 cents per week, and women between 2 and 10 cents per week. Additionally, property owners were asked to set aside 1 to 5 cents a week per $100 of value. So basically, this is what nowadays is the tithing and offering system. But at the beginning, remember, there was no organized church, but there were many preachers going to different places, but there was no way to support them, to give them money. And that is the reason even many of them, they couldn't live of the gospel ministry. They have to work during the summers in the field or whatever, and during the winters or some season go and preach. But at the beginning, the systematic benevolence helped a lot to all those gospel preachers and pastors and all the people that were involved in the preaching of the doctrines of the Bible to get supported, and also helping people in need. So that was that concept that today is the tithing and offering concept that goes to the whole world. Okay. Letter J, we have the Tract Society. Originating in 1870, the Tract and Missionary Societies became, during the subsequent 3 decades, the main distribution agency for denominational publication and the organizational vehicle for personal ministries. So Tract Societies serve basically as bookstores where members and the public could access Adventist publications, including books, pamphlets, and periodicals. It facilitated the widespread distribution of Adventist literature and played a significant role in the church evangelistic outreach and growth. Today is what we know, and I'm pretty sure you have been there, by Adventist book centers, the ABCs. So this is what it looks back in the days at the beginning. And that is actually a picture of the first Tract Society in South Lancaster, New England, Massachusetts. All right. So those were the Tract Society. Then we have letter K. We have the University of Montemorelos. It's an Adventist university located in Nuevo León, Mexico. This university grants degrees in medicine, nursing, nutrition, management, arts, and various other disciplines. It was established in 1942, and Montemorelos is one of only 5 Adventist universities worldwide that grant degrees in medicine. So that is why it's important, especially for Hispanic speaking people. So it is the world's 2nd largest Christian school system right now, okay, after Andrews University. We have then letter L, which is a Voice of Prophecy, which I'm pretty sure many of you have ever broadcast that. The Voice of Prophecy, founded in California by Evangelist Richards Sr. In 1929, became Adventist's premier radio ministry, with nationwide broadcasting and a Bible correspondence school, both launched in 1942. By 1947, the Voice of Prophecy was reaching around the world, broadcasting in 6 languages on more than 600 stations, and its international evangelistic ministry continues in 2020 on multiple media platforms. As it peaked, the Voice of Prophecy, with its skillful mix of music and message, which they highlight the Kings of Herald and Delcar, was the church's largest and most effective outreach program. So according to them, the most important accomplishment has been its effectiveness in presenting the gospel to millions around the globe. All right, so that's the Voice of Prophecy. Letter M, we have the Washington hand press. The Washington hand press is a type of iron hand press that became very popular in America, especially during the 1820s and onwards. It was known for its lightened metal frame and a toggle joint mechanism, making it both durable and easier to transport, which is a picture you are seeing right there. So it was instrumental in the early days of the church publishing ministry, which played a crucial role in disseminating Adventist belief on uniting the scattered believers. It allowed the fledgling church to print and distribute literature, including the first edition of the Present Truth, which remember was the first periodical of the SDA Church by James White. Later, the Adventist Review, which helped solidify the identity and mission of the SDA Church. Right? And you also have to research other significant locations, organization, or concept in your division, conference, or region. All right. So that was number 6. And now we're going to go to the last one, number 7, which is talking about Ellen G. White. So you have to read about, watch, or research the story of Ellen G. White. Explain what her role was in the beginnings of the Adventist Church, and include in your research significant factors such as, and there is a list of factors. Before I go to all that, I will suggest some books that you can get about this. There are many, of course, on the internet and the White State, but a book I would recommend is Messenger of the Lord by Herbert Douglass. A good book talking about everything, life, ministry, visions, everything about Ellen G. White. It's a really good resource if you want to know more about her. Also, the biography, Woman of Vision by Arthur White, her son. It's also a good, many details about her life. And also we have the 101 questions about Ellen White and her writings of William Fagal. This is basically dealing with all the, how's it called? The questions that raise against Ellen G. White. So explaining all about her understanding of beliefs and also many other concernings public in general have about Ellen G. White. So those are 3 books I would recommend if you can get. But again, there is many information in Google, internet. There are many series on YouTube about her life. You can deep into this a lot. All right. So I'm gonna share just a summary of her life, and then we are gonna go to the terms that are listed over there. So while Seventh-day Adventists believe that the gift of prophecy was manifested in the life and ministry of Ellen G. White, they also understand she was a real person who experienced disappointment, discouragement, and frustration just like anyone else living in the real world. So seeing she had such a special call from God, why was she constantly so sick? What was her walk with God like? Was she a cheerful or gloomy person? Did she enjoy humor, and was she ever known to have laugh? If she only received a third-grade education, how was she able to write so extensively on such a broad spectrum of subjects? So understanding better the person of Ellen White will help her readers understand better her messages. All right, so we're going to see some of these things. So Ellen and her twin sister Elizabeth were born on November 26, 1827 in Gorham, Maine, to Eunice and Robert Harmon, a Methodist farmer. Ellen White died on July 16, 1915 in St. Helena, Elms Heaven, California. Ellen White is the most translated female author in the history of literature, as well as the most translated American nonfiction author. She received her first vision in December of 1844. Ellen spent the early part of her life in Portland, Maine, while her final years were spent in Elms Heaven, her home in St. Helena, California. She lived in Rochester, New York, and Battle Creek, Michigan during most of her married life. From 1885 to 1887, she served as a missionary to Europe, and from 1881 to 19 as a missionary to Australia. All right. Talking about her health, When Ellen White was 9 years of age, while walking home from school, an older classmate threw a stone which hit her on the nose, leaving her face disfigured and putting her in a coma for several weeks. So this is something that affected her whole life. She carried through this through her whole life. She was very weak and sickly when she received her first vision. Ellen White constantly battled with pain and disease, and on different occasions was told she would not live. Ellen White suffered from rheumatism on both ankles till her death. While in Australia, she had various ailments that hindered her work. She lived to the age of 87, an accomplishment that was rare in her day. All right, and most of the pioneers didn't make it to that age. So she was one of the few. Okay, how was Ellen White's walk with God? So in 1836, at the age of 9, after suffering from her accident, Ellen White experienced a spiritual crisis in which she despaired of life. So her wrong understanding of the character of God led her to fear and not truly love him. But in 1840, at the age of 12, Ellen and her family attend a series of lectures given by William Miller. So when she filled out a general conference biographical information form in 1909, she answered the question related to the date of her conversion as probably in March 1840. So at that meeting that attended by William Miller. So a key person that impacted Ellen White's spiritual walk was a young Methodist minister that accepted Miller's message. On June 26, 1842, she was baptized. Later, she will refer to this moment as the happiest time of her life. Uh, um, Ellen White prayed earnestly and sincerely, not only for herself, but also for individuals and the churches. Ellen White's words to her son Willie 2 months before her death reveal the depth of her personal experience with God. So she was a really close person in his walking with God. What about her personality? So, given the nature of her prophetic ministry, it is to be expected that she would have written in a very serious tone. But Ellen White opposed foolish joking, but encouraged a hearty, willing service to Jesus that produces a sunny religion. Ellen White was known to enjoy good, innocent humor. She looked so serious in her pictures, and we have no photograph of her smiling because photography prior to the 1880s was a slow process requiring long, tedious time exposures. That is why, it takes hours, so she couldn't hold the smile for so long. So that's why we don't have a picture of her smiling. Ellen White also understood the need for rest, relaxation, and enjoyable times of recreation. Talking about her education, in her 1901 biographical information form to the question, what degrees, if any, have you received and from what school and when? Ellen White answered none. She attended a public school in Portland, Maine until the age of 9, but due to her accident, her formal education was interrupted. So Ellen White struggled greatly over the fact that she would no longer be able to study. Though her accident interrupted her formal education, she made up for it by systematically pursuing informal education throughout her life by wide reading and extensive travel. So she was known to have had amassed more than 1,000 books in her personal and office library by the end of her life. Willie White, her son and literary assistant, described how much she felt the results of her lack of a school education. So imagine that, even though she couldn't make it to university, that she always dreamed of have all degrees and study and finish her studies. So while understanding her as a person who experienced life struggles and joys similar to our own, may be helpful in understanding her writings. So there is no question that Ellen White's message and not her person should receive the bulk of her readers' attention. She herself was very cautious lest people should make her life an example, a criterion. This is something important because today this is a misunderstanding in Adventist church for many people. Concerning her family and the question of diet, she wrote, I do not hold myself up as a criterion for them. I leave each one of to follow his own ideas as to what is best for him. I bind no one else's conscience by my own. So she was pretty um, uh, careful on many topics she wrote about. Another question people will raise, what kind of relationship did Ellen White have with her husband? What was she like as a mother? Did she take a special interest in people? Did she have hobbies? And if so, what were they? Was she a generous person? How did she spend her money? Was she a boring speaker, or could she hold large crowds and even hold the attention of children and youth? Besides speaking and writing, was she ever engaged in any other form of gospel work? Did she ever lead souls to Christ through personal evangelism? So the answer to this question and much more will help us understand better the person behind the prophetic voice God used to guide the SDA people. So talking about the marriage, as you know, she married James White as a pragmatic solution to a problem that arose when Ellen White was traveling extensively to share her God-given message. She was doing this by herself, and she was sick, and all these problems she was going, so she married this young man. So a justice of the peace married them on August 30, 1846. Ellen and James enjoy a relationship of love, respect, and mutual appreciation. Also, they enhance one another's ministry. Years after the death of her husband, Ellen White expressed the love she had for him by saying that he is the best man that ever trod should letter. Um, in 1874, she wrote him, I have the highest estimate on your ability. Uh, James and Ellen White, like any other couple, had a marriage that suffered from the stresses and strains that affect all good marriages. They struggled to find privacy and space because of their prominent position and the high demand for their service in the church. Because of James' poor health, especially from the years 1865 to the year of his death, 1881, period during which he suffered up to 5 strokes, he and Ellen's relationship suffered. Ellen continually counseled her husband to slow down and be temperate with work, something that went against his nature because he was really proactive. After suffering from a paralytic stroke, he suffered from recurrent depression and would often resent his wife's counsel. He became suspicious of other people and at times made ill-advised statements and accusations. A difficult relationship with their eldest son brought tension between James and Ellen. So, though they had their issues, their marriage was only strengthened through trial. So, Ellen White missed her husband terribly after his death. How was she as a mother? They had 4 sons, Henry Nichols, James Hudson, William Clarence, and John Herbert. Edson and William lived to adulthood while John Herbert died at the age of 3 months in the 1860, and Henry died of pneumonia at the age of 16 in 1863. So only 2 made it to adulthood. So a deep burden of Ellen White's heart was the eternal well-being of her children. She was also concerned with her children's temporal needs. At times, James White had to discipline his little boys. Ellen White acknowledged that she and her husband were not perfect parents. Um, James Edson, which is Ellen White's oldest surviving son, was a challenge to his parents from his earliest years. By the age of 16, Edson's disobedience and deception was causing his mother much grief and heartache. On June 21, 1883, from Australia, Ellen White wrote an important 10-page appeal letter to Edson, who was thinking of withdrawing from Adventism. So imagine that. With the words written across the top, Edson, please read this carefully. Do not cast it aside or burn it. So she also faced the struggle that maybe many of our parents or you as a parent also face with your sons and with your children. Edson eventually committed himself to God and played a prominent role in building up the work of the church in the United States South. Willie was Ellen White's only son that blessed her with grandchildren. Um, Talking about their pastimes, their hobbies, beginning in 1872, the Whites family began making regular summer trips to visit the high mountain west of Boulder, Colorado. She enjoyed horseback riding. She also encouraged her husband to lay aside his work for a while and be free as the birds of the air, so to spend time with the family by themselves. She was a lover of nature, also a lover of the sea, and she learned to enjoy growing a vegetable and flower garden for physical exercise and recreation since she was a small child, and passed the same love to her children. Talking about stewardship, and I found this pretty interesting. Uh, Both James and Ellen White struggled with poverty during their first years of married life due to the fact that Presbyterian Adventists had not systematic support for the ministry, as we talk about the systematic benevolence. So it took them years before they could have what might be considered a normal family life, because they gave their all to establish what would become known as the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Ellen White helped supplement the family income by sewing and decrease food expense by having a garden and an orchard. By 1885, at a time when $1 a day represent a going wage, she could say that she and James had invested $30,000 in the cause, which back in the days was a lot of money. What they receive from their books will often go towards needy causes within the church, such as sponsoring, for example, John Harvey Kellogg to study medicine in New York. They sponsor him. Because she was so generous in giving to the cause, she owned nothing that was free from debt. Ellen White had an unconventional philosophy of stewardship, believing that all she had, not just the 10%, belonged to God. So her whole life was a sermon about that. She's not just right about stewardship, she lived stewardship more than many of Adventist people. Talking about public speaking and soul winning, people who had the privilege of seeing Ellen White speak agree that she spoke clearly, deliberately, slowly, and with a strong carrying capacity to her voice. Generally, she used no notes, but at times would preach reading from a manuscript. The largest audience Ellen White ever addressed was a temperance rally in Groveland, Massachusetts in August 1876, where 2,000 people attend. After her Sunday lecture, also a special committee invited her to speak in the Haverhill City Hall to the city's most important and sophisticated people, and other important people like the Queen of England, for example. Ellen White preached to not only Adventist audience, but to the general public as well. She lived life as a perpetual round of evangelism, not as a religious duty, but because she had a genuine burden for souls. On the General Conference Biographical Information Form, Ellen White answered the question, when, where, and in what capacity did you begin laboring in the cause? By stating, in May 1842, laboring for young friends. So at young age, she started with that. While in Nimes, France, Ellen White strategically planned to win back a young backslidden Seventh-day Adventist. So she was also involved in other activities. So Ellen White was a well-rounded person. She was a productive author, dedicated wife and mother, talent speaker, and proven soul winner. She had social skill that made her a pleasant person, um, and had a very balanced approach to life. She handled adversity exceptionally well, and this because she had a connection with God and a healthy religious experience. Studying her ministry in the light of her personal life, one can rightly agree that God calls holy men and women moved by the Holy Ghost to the prophetic office. So that was just, remember, a summary of Ellen G. White, the person, the ministry, and all those aspects. There is a lot of information. You can go, we don't have the time to go through all of that, but that was just to show you the person behind the prophet. Now, going to the letters, you have to include in your research that you are going to write. We have several terms. We have the first vision, and we have the date June 6, 1863. I think that is a mistake on the honor, because Ellen White's first vision received soon after the Millerite Great Disappointment was in 1844. Depicted the Advent people traveling on a narrow path to the holy city, which you can see in the White State in Maryland on the banner, big. So a bright light identified as the midnight cry shone behind them, and Jesus led the way. So this vision given while praying with other women encouraged believers to persevere in their faith and journey towards heaven. So that was her first vision. Now, the vision on June 6, 1863, she received a vision focused on health reform, specifically addressing the importance of temperance and healthful living. So this vision, which took place at the home of Brother Hilliard in Otsego, Michigan, lasted for about 45 minutes. It emphasized the connection between diet, disease, and the need for moderation in all things, including eating, drinking, and physical activity. All right. Letter B, we have Elms Heaven, which we already talked about a little. So this is in California, and was significant to Ellen G. White as her last home and a place where she wrote extensively, solidifying her legacy as a co-founder of the SDA Church. So it provided a peaceful environment for her final years and served as a base for her writing ministry, where she produced several major books. So it became her residence from 19 until her death in 1915. So it was here that she wrote a significant portion of her work, including major books like The Ministry of Healing and an updated version of the Great Controversy series. So that is the picture of the house in Elms Heaven. Letter C, we have the visions. She experienced approximately 2,000 visions and dreams over her 70 years ministry, beginning in December 1844, shortly after the Great Disappointment. So these visions were considered by her and her followers to be a divine gift, revealing God's will, historical events, future prophecies, and insights into individuals' lives and the church welfare. Eyewitness accounts describe supernatural phenomena such as a sense of God's presence, loss of physical strength, and at times supernatural strength, which I'm pretty sure you have heard of the Bible. She hold for 30 minutes up a Bible that was heavy for her regarding her sickness and her health problems. And men that could try to do it, they couldn't last even a minute. Letter D. we have the Gorham, Maine. As we talk about, is where the birthplace of Ellen G. White. She was born there in November 26, 1827, and also was part of her formative experience. Um, so her early life in Gorham, particularly her family's involvement in the Methodist Church, shaped her religious perspective and laid the foundation for her future role as a co-founder of the SDA Church, right? Gorham, Maine. Letter E is the Lord's messenger. Ellen G. White often refers to herself as the Lord's messenger rather than a prophet. So she never liked to be called the prophet. She always referred herself as the Lord's messenger or messenger of the Lord, because the prophet term was often misused and misunderstood in her time and even today. So, and her work encompassed more than just prophetic pronouncements. She saw her role as delivering messages from God to his people, and felt messenger more accurately reflected the breadth of her ministry. So that is something interesting about, of course, she was a prophet, but she didn't like to be called like that. Letter F, we have the Conflict of the Ages series, which I'm pretty sure most of you have read already. So this series by Ellen White is important because it provides a comprehensive, biblically based narrative of the great controversy between Christ and Satan, highlighting God's character and offering guidance for navigating the challenge of life and the end times. So the series, spanning from Genesis to Revelation, present a unified story of God's plan for redemption, tracing the conflict from its origin in heaven to its resolution in the new earth. So I would suggest to you, if you have ever done it before, to do the biblical year, but following with this series, all the chapters that belong to the different chapters of the Bible. It will give you a more broad concept of what, because she had many details that even the Bible doesn't mention about many things. So I would recommend that. But it's one of the most important books. Actually, even she struggled to write this series because she mentioned that the devil tried to kill her many times while she was writing this series. Letter G, we have the Ellen G. White Estate Incorporation. It's an organization established to manage the writings and properties of Ellen G. White, a co-founder of the SDA Church, as outlined in her will. So its primary function includes securing the printing of her writings, handling her properties, and ensuring the continued dissemination of her works through various translations and publications. So the estate maintains historical material related to Ellen White and her ministry, with research centers located at various institutions, including universities and the General Conference headquarters, which, if you haven't ever been there, I would suggest you to go, because there is a lot of information and materials. And even if you want to do a trip with your Pathfinder club, that will be a great place to go and to learn more about the heritage of our church. Letter H, we have the Lovett's Grove, Ohio. In March 1858, Ellen G. White experienced a significant vision during a meeting in Lovett's Grove, Ohio, now Bowling Green. This vision, which she later developed into the Great Controversy, depict the ongoing conflict between Christ and Satan. So the meeting was held in a schoolhouse, and the vision occurred during a testimony she was given. So Lovett's Grove is also notable as the location of the first Seventh-day Adventist church organized in Ohio. So that is where she received the Great Controversy vision. All right. Letter I, we have Sunnyside, which is also, you can buy this book, Sunnyside, which tell the whole story of her in Australia. So that was Ellen White's favorite home in Australia, located near Avondale and serving as a place where she wrote many books, including The Desire of Ages. So it was a place where she managed a large household, support new church members, and serve the local community. Stories from Sunnyside by Marianne de Berg details Ellen White's times in Australia, focusing on her personal ministry and interaction with the community, including those not of her faith. So Ellen White lived at Sunnyside for just over 4 years, from 1895 to 19 from the 90s, after purchasing the property. All right, and letter J, which is the last one, we have the testimonies for the church. Ellen G. White wrote the 9-volume set Testimonies for the Church that contains 4,739 pages of prophetic counsels specifically for the church. So they contain general spiritual commentary along with many letters of personal instruction to church leaders and members during her lifetime. So the testimonies for the church are important because they help readers to understand Ellen White's prophetic gift and authority as message of counsel received from God to help steer the prophetic movement towards spreading the gospel and prepare its members for the imminent second coming of Christ. So again, if you can read it, I would recommend it to read it. It's very good. All right, so that is the last thing from point 7. Again, you have then to go points 8, 9, and 10, which you have to do your research, but that we're gonna let it for you to do it on your own. So let me just share the game. Again, the game is a Kahoot, a simple Kahoot, 10 questions, talking about all the things we have learned during this honor. Whoever wins the game, I will give you as a gift any book you want from Adventist Heritage. So whoever is the winner, then you can write to me, communicate to me, and you can tell me which book you want, and whatever book you want of Adventist Heritage, I'll buy it for you and send it to your house. Okay? So that's gonna be my gift for this class for the whole for these 3 Mondays. All right. So let me share the Kahoot. So tell me if you can see it. So you can either scan the QR code if you are on your laptop and you have your phone. If not on your phone, you can go to kahoot.it and you can introduce this pin on the Kahoot app, and then it will ask you to put your name, write your name, and that's it. You are gonna be in. So all can participate. And again, 10 simple questions about the whole class. Whoever wins, you can write to me, and whatever book you want, I'll give it to you as a gift. All right. So I see there are some people that have put the pin. So I hope you know who you are and you can tell me your name, because there are 2 people with the same number. So I hope you tell me who you are later. Okay, so we have Elizabeth, Hermie, Connie, Jahel, Denise, and 964804 and 964807. All right, we have also Anna. All right, so go to kahoot.it, put your name, and we are gonna play this game as to finish, at least from my part. All right. You let me know if you need more time to enter or you need help, let us know. But I see we have 9 people already in the game. So if anyone else is trying to enter, let me know. If not, we will start. All right, we have Kaiser just entering. think you will have 20 seconds per question. But again, these are not complicated questions. It's all talking about what we have learned, okay? All right, I'll wait for you, Jamie. You are coming on, so don't worry. And Jackie too, okay? I see over there me. Other one with the number. All right. We will wait for you, so don't worry. So I wait to refresh our mind on what we have learned during these classes, all right? I know, again, it's a lot of knowledge, but it will get more stuck into your mind as you teach to others, to your classes, you share with your church, with your pathfinders. And yeah, again, it's who we are, why we are here, where are we going? It has all to do with that, all right? So we have 10 people. I think I saw Jamie and Jackie. I don't know if Jackie already is in or we have to still wait for you. You let me know. Okay, I see Gio, Minnie. All right. So remember, you can scan the QR if you are in your laptop with your phone. If not, on Google or Safari, whatever you use, kahoot.it, you put the pin and then you put your name. All right. So I saw Bella. I don't know if Jackie are you already in, Jackie, or still trying to connect? I saw you right on the
I'm
chat.
trying, but I'm not getting through at all. Maybe you have to go ahead without me because I'm not
Oh,
getting through.
man, I'm so sorry that you couldn't join the game. Uh, so sorry. Sometimes happen, but
It
okay.
helps if you zoom in. If you on your another device zoom into the thing, it goes.
Okay. So besides Jackie that couldn't make it, okay, so Gio is joining. Oh no, but you are already in, Gio. You are already in, so you're good. I saw you. So here in the chat, Ruth shared the link also. You can try Jackie that, go into the link and see if you can put the pin, which is 964807, and see if you can go in. Try it. If not, then all right. So we have 13 people on. I'm gonna wait for Jackie if she can make it. If not, then I'm so sorry. You couldn't get a chance to win the prize. Again, remember, the only condition is an Adventist Heritage book. Any Adventist Heritage book you want, you just let me know. You write, you can write, you can write it directly to me or through Ruth, either way, and then I'll buy it and send it to you. All right. That also
Wonderful. That's a wonderful prize, guys. So let's go. Those who are here and the rest will enjoy as our audience.
so sorry for you, the audience part. All right. Okay, so you let me know, Ruth. Are we ready? Are we ready to start or?
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, so sorry for the ones couldn't make it. So sorry for you. Okay, so we're gonna start. Remember, 10 questions, 20 seconds. It's multiple option questions. So there are two possible answers, but only one correct. And I think there are also some that are true or false. But it is in Spanish, the true or false. So, but I tell you which one is true and which one is false. All right. So let's just start then. All right. Our Adventist Pioneer Heritage. So question number 1. In what year Miller started to preach about the second coming of Jesus? 1844, red. 1840, blue. 1831, yellow. 1800, green. which year did Miller start to preach about the second coming of Jesus? 1844 red, 1840 blue, 1831 yellow, 18 green. All right, no one get it right. Remember, 1831 was the year Miller started preaching and sharing what he learned about the second coming of Christ and the prophecies. Okay, let's go with the second question. True or false? Daniel 8:14 led the Millerites to believe Jesus would return in 1844. Blue is true, red is false. So true or false? Daniel 8:14 led the Millerites to believe Jesus would return in 1844. True or false? Blue is true, red is false. All right, that's right. That is true. They thought that that prophecy of the 8,300 days, meaning that Jesus at the end of that will return to the earth in 1844. That is true. Okay, that was the misconception they had. Okay, so let's see who is first. So Andrea is right now first, but it's close by Denise, Jahel, Stacy, and Connie. All right, let's go to question number 3. Question number 3. Who was the first president of the General Conference of the SDA Church? Red, John Byton. Blue, James White. Yellow, Arthur Daniels. Or green, Hiram Hudson. Who was the first president of our church? John Byton, red. James White, blue. Arthur Daniels, yellow. Or Hiram Hudson, green. And the right answer is correct. John Byton, the red. He was the first ever president we had. James White and Arthur Daniel, they were also presidents of our General Conference, but the first one was John Byton, all right? Hiram Hudson was never a president of our church. So, yeah. So let's see who is now first. So we have Ruth at the top right now. Then Andrea, Denise, Jahel, and Stacy. All right. So let's go to question number 4. Don't worry, we have even double point questions. Question number 4. Who was the first official overseas missionary for the church? Red, Joseph Bates. Blue, Ellen G. White. Yellow, Alonzo Jones. Or green, John Nevins Andrews. The first official overseas missionary for the church, especially to Europe. Joseph Bates, Ellen G. White, Alonzo Jones, or John Andrews. Correct. The right answer was John Nevins Andrews. He was the first official overseas missionary to Europe, to France and Switzerland. All right. So we have Ruth still at the top, Connie, Bella, Andrea, and Denise. All right. So let's go to question number 5, which is a double point question. What year the General Conference discussed the subject of righteousness by faith? Red, 1901, blue, 1888, yellow, 1863, or green, 1903. The Righteousness by Faith General Conference, 1901, 1888, 1863, or 1903, and the correct answer is 1888. The Minneapolis General Conference, where Wagner and Jones talk about the righteousness by faith. All right, so that was the correct answer. So now we have still Ruth at the top, Jackie, me, Minnie, and Jamie. All right, so we are getting there. Second, 6th question, also for double points. What year the church was reorganized? Red, 1844, blue, 1863, yellow, 1901, green, 1915. The year the church was reorganized: 1844, 1863, 1901, or 1915. And the right answer, correct, is 1901. That was the year the church was reorganized with Arthur G. Daniels. All right. Remember, 1844, the church didn't exist yet. 1863 was the year the church was officially organized. and 1915 was the year Ellen G. White died. All right, 1901 is the year the church was reorganized. So we have Ruth at the front, Jamie, Mecca came back, Connie, Jahel, and Stacy. All right. Question number 7. What was the name of the church first periodical? I mentioned it today. Red, The Present Truth. Blue, Advent Tidende. Yellow, The Signs of the Times. Or green, Liberty. The name of the church first periodical. The Present Truth, Advent Tidende, The Signs of the Times, or Liberty. Correct. The Present Truth by James White was the first ever periodical that the church had that later developed to Advent Review. Okay. Advent Ident, remember, and the others were also magazines and periodical, but came later. Okay, so let's see how is our game. We have then Ruth is still at the top, Jamie, Bella, Connie, and Jahel. All right. Now, let's go to question number 8. Ellen G. White was against the organization of the church in 1901. True or false? Blue is true, red is false. Ellen G. White was against the organization of the church in 1901. Blue, true, red, false. Remember, we talk about the reorganization and the role Ellen G. White played. That's right. That is false. She was not against. She was actually promoting the organization of the church in 1901. All right. She was in favor. So let's see. We have still Ruth at the front, Jamie, Bella, Connie, and Jahel. So still close. Question number 9. What was the name of the college Ellen G. White helped found in Australia? Red, Battle Creek College. Blue, Loma Linda College. Yellow, Walla Walla College. Or green, Avondale College. The name of the college Ellen White helped found in Australia. Red, Battle Creek College. Blue, Loma Linda College. Walla Walla College. Or Avondale College. That's right. We saw it today. Avondale College in Australia. Okay, so we still have Ruth at the top, Jamie, Connie, Bella, and Stacy. All right, we are getting to the end. Question number 10. What year Ellen White was born? Red, 1815, blue, 1827, yellow, 1837, or green, 1915? What year she was born? 1815, 1827, 1837, or 1915? Remember, in Gorham, Maine. The right answer was 1827 in Gorham, Maine, November 26th. Remember, we talk about today. All right, that was the right answer, the blue. So let's see how is our chart. So we have still Ruth, Connie, Jamie, Bella, and Stacy. And the last question. So here everything is going to be defined. All right. We have the winner here. 11. True or false? Ellen White liked to be called the prophet. Blue, true. Red, false. Ellen White liked to be called the prophet. Blue, true. Red, false. That was the last thing even we talk about today. Did she like to be called that? That's right. False. She didn't like to be called the prophet. You always use the expression messenger of the Lord. All right, Lord's messenger. So we are gonna see who is our winner for our class. So on the third place we have Jamie. So congratulations, Jamie. On the second we have Connie, and on the first place we have Ruth. Okay.
We're gonna give it to Connie because I already have my books. So Connie,
Okay, all right. So then Ruth is gonna pass it to Connie.
yeah,
So
I just joined
Connie,
out of curiosity.
okay, don't worry. I mean, you should be the first because you are the teacher of the class. So you should be the first. All right. So Connie, you can reach out to me on the. Okay, Jamie, because you and Connie went second and third, I'll get a book for both of you, all right? So you can write to me directly or to Ruth, whatever you prefer. You have my number on the slideshow presentation. So just remember, write to me, tell me which book you want, and I'll get it for you. All right. But thank you to everyone for the time we share. For me, it was a pleasure to be with you during these 3 Mondays. I hope all of you use all the information and also share with your students, with your Pathfinders, in your churches, and we grow together, learning from Adventist heritage. All right. So thank you so much, and that is from my part. To everyone. All right. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you for everything.
Much, Pastor Kevin Condori. If you guys see Pastor Kevin in some conference events, just go around, say hi, get his number. So remember that you're growing your network of leaders that you know in your conference. So when you feel overwhelmed, you need instructors or some honors, you need some guest speakers, you can have that network. It's going to help you heavily to have a greater success in your leadership. Thank you so much, Pastor Kevin. God bless you. And we hope to see you again. I hope this is not first and last, but it's just the beginning of a nice, how can I say, partnership that we have here. We also will be visiting maybe your church soon. All right, everybody, if you liked it, say thanks to Pastor Kevin. And before we finish, I want to let you know that there is an app also for games, because we're gonna review. Thank you so much for those thumbs up. There are in our worksheet, I'm gonna share my screen now, hold on, and we're gonna put this presentation. Pastor Kevin is gonna share with us, so if you need to review some notes, you can go to Google Classroom. So I just wanna go over question 8, 9, and 10 so everybody's clear of what they have to do. So question 8 has 2 parts. The first one is that you need to do some research and find out what is the story of the Advent movement in your country. And this is going to be different for everybody because we come from different countries. And even if you are coming from North American division, you can perhaps focus on what region you are in. For those who are born here in New York, then you can focus either Atlantic Union or Greater New York Conference, all right? And question B is discover some of the stories on how Pathfinders and Adventist youth groups or AY societies began in your conference or division. Again, you can focus overall in the Pathfinder story or the AY story, which are reading requirements for this class, or you can focus again Atlantic Union or Greater New York Conference. So there's not right or wrong. It's your choice of what you want to focus your research on. And the last part is that you need to present your findings to a group or as part of requirement 9 or 10. So this can be presented to your club. It can be done during an AY. It can be done as an activity in your church that somebody calls you to do that presentation, and you will give us the date and the group you presented to. All right, and question number 9 is that you have to give 3 stories, 3 different locations, either to Sabbath school, a school, or Pathfinder group. You have to tell them 3 stories about the Advent history. So you can focus either on an event, you can focus overall, talked about the Adventist Heritage pioneers, some part, maybe you want to focus on the Millerist movement, or you want to focus on MG White, or you want to focus on the missionaries going abroad. It's up to you, and you will give us what was the story and what was the date completed. And if possible, you tell me what group you gave it to. So let's say story number 1, I'm going to give it devotional to my Pathfinders. I put the Pathfinders devotional about James White, and I put the date. Story number 2, I did an AY. I did the AY on the first vision of LNG White. There is a date. Okay, so you give me that. And finally, part 10, you get options. You can do one out of those 4 options. So option 1, you do something graphic. It can be a video, a presentation, a flyer, a painting, a collage, something that you want to do that speaks of what is the Adventist heritage. You can go online. There's plenty of photos, and you have seen Pastor Kevin putting a lot of like historical photos. You can make a collection of those photos, and you will have to attach a photo of this next to your worksheet when you upload it. If you go for this option, if you do a video, give us the link and attach it, right? You can put a QR for the instructor who's checking and is going to give you your signature to do this. If you go for option B, you write your skit about the Adventist heritage, and then you give me at the end, after your worksheets, the skit, the dialogues, the script of your skit. All right, and you give me the dates. C, you will give a game. You will have to create a game. You saw how Pastor Kevin today did a Kahoot. It can be as simple as that. You can even do a board game. You can do something interesting. I wanted to let you know that there is an app that it was created by the LNG-White State. It's called Pitcairn, Messenger of God. As we learned today that the Pitcairn was a ship that was going around the islands preaching. So this is a trivia game that you can use with your Pathfinders. And they have to get 200 points in 7 minutes with different questions, just like we did today with Pastor Condori. So you could take inspiration of that. You can go and download the app, and you could take inspiration on that and do your own version. And if you do so, please give us a photo, give us a description, or give us something to see what your game was. And last is the official visit to an official Adventist Heritage site. As I mentioned, the Master Guide Club is going in October, and we have very few seats available. Few of you have already contacted me, and your names have been already sent. So I will be in touch with you to let you know when is the first payment going to be and when is the next one, and give you more details. All right. But if you're still interested, there is very few spots left. So let me know.
Can you
And
repeat that? Where and when?
Well, we are going to Michigan. We're going to Michigan to the House of LNG White in, I believe it was in Battle Creek. And this is the date. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you. This is in October. Give me 1 second. October 24th and 25th. Okay, and the price is $175 per person. This includes transportation and hotel. But everything else, and you need to see your food and any other expenses. All right. So you have those 4 options. So the last page is all homework that you have to do. All right. Do we have any questions? Was it clear for everybody?
That Michigan, sorry.
All right. So a few dates before we close our session tonight. And next week, we're going back to our regular schedules. So first year students, they go back to Tuesday classes. Okay, we continue now with our seminars, first year students. Obviously, second year students, you stay on your Monday schedule. So next week, we have Monday sessions for second year students and Tuesday sessions for first year students. The next date is that we already have our wilderness camp dates. As I was announcing, I'm going to be putting the registration links very soon in our chats. So we have August 15th to the 17th, August 15th to the 17th for our wilderness camp. This August is going to be a busy month for us because we also have our pre-camp session, which will be Sunday, August 9th. The location will be announced soon. It will be a park in the New York area. Hopefully we don't have to travel that far, but that pre-camp session, we teach you everything that you will be doing at camp, because in the wilderness camp, you show us what you know already. So there are going to be a few things that we're going to be learning over there, a few honors that we're going to cover, but the basics of how to build a shelter, how to set a fire. So all the practical things that we did from camping skills 1 through 4, we're going to be doing those at the pre-camp session on August 9th. And then August 15th to the 17th, which is the next weekend, after that will be our wilderness camp. I want to make clear that we know that second-year students get first picked to go to register for this because ideally the second-year students will be getting invested, so they need this as a requirement for investiture. You cannot get invested if you do not attend to this camp. If you have attended last year, that's perfect, but if you have not yet done so, then you have to do it, and this is your last chance. Then the second round goes to the first-year students. If first-year students, for X reason, this date doesn't work with you, you have other conflict of schedules, because of some events, it's okay. You still have the chance to do it next year with us. All right. So I just want to be clear about that. And for those who went already last year and want to repeat the experience, because, you know, the more you go, the more familiar you go. Please hold on. I will definitely try to make a space for you, but let me get those who need it for the requirement first. Right?
Ruth, August 9th is a Sabbath. You meant the 10th?
Yeah, I'm sorry, August 10th. Thank you so much. August 10th. Okay, and finally, August 31st, we have our final session for first aid and CPR. Our instructor is going to be our candidate here, Daniel Richardson. We're going to be announcing the date. Is most likely going to be in the Bronx, since he's coming from upstate. I don't want to make him go all the way to Queens or Brooklyn. So we will meet him halfway, and we're going to come to the Bronx. It will be from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So all these flyers and all these registration forms will be going out soon. And please stay up to date, stay in the loop so you can get all that information. Any other questions, you can put them in the chat. All right. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. So August 10th, where will that be?
The locations are going to be announced soon. I don't have the locations finalized yet, but it's going to be somewhere. I remind you, Jackie, I believe did you attend last year to the camp?
No.
Okay, so I'll make sure it's going to be in a park somewhere here in New York City, because I have to check which park is going to let us build a fire. And second, since it's summer, parks are crowded. And last year, for those who came to the park in the Bronx, you see that we were competing with some barbecues, some birthdays, and so we don't want to have that. And we're looking for a place that is not going to be that crowded, so we don't have to compete with speakers and other people having their own events. Okay. All right. So, Stacy, you have a question?
I don't have a question so much as you didn't tell them that the for those who didn't do PBST, it's offered this coming Sabbath. PBST is in Queens area.
For those of you who did not do the PBST, so here's the thing: you will see that the second date conflicts with our wilderness camp, correct? If you're going to wilderness camp, you won't be able to do the ABST. If you go to the ABST, you won't be able to go to wilderness camp. Since not everybody is going to be able to go to camp, you can take advantage and take the the PBST in Queens. And this is from the Queens area. For those who want to take it in the upstate area, there will be another one. You can get in touch with coordinator Nydia Pagan. As soon as I have the dates, I will post for those two. I just want to let you know that this event, I'm not organizing it, and I'm not going to be there because we have other activities. So if you get to attend, you have to go to both sessions, because the way they're doing it is they're splitting it in 2 sessions. Half of the seminars will be given in the first session, and the second half will be given in the second session. And they're doing it like this because we will have TLTs in attendance, and TLTs won't be able to be sitting in one long session for all 8 seminars. So this is the reason why they're splitting it in 2 halves. And you will have to be attending those 2 halves in order to get your certificate. All right. I don't know if any other areas we'll be organizing a PBST session this year. So if you can, and if you're not going to the wilderness camp, take advantage of this opportunity. You can get that requirement out of the way. I have been checking some portfolios for those second-year students in the first place. Please check the comments that I'm leaving. Reminder for everybody that when you write your reports, do not leave out the paragraph regarding your club ministry application and your spiritual life application, because those are 50% of your grade. So if you have this wonderful summary of the book, but you don't have these paragraphs, you're going to be losing points. So please keep that in mind. All right. If you're having any technical issue with Google Classroom, let me know. I know Denise has been having an issue. Denise, we're going to get in touch with that to help you out. All right. Let's ask Pastor Kevin to lead us in the final prayer. And thank you so much for your participation tonight.
All right, let's just bow our heads to have this closing prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity that we had to review and study the history of our church right from the beginning up to now. We have seen how you have led us, guide us throughout many things, many challenges, but this is your church, Father. And now, as we continue with the legacy, I pray that you may be with each one of the persons here in this meeting, that you may give them wisdom, that you may give them the knowledge as they prepare to be a master guide for your honor, Father, that they may be examples in their churches, in their communities, in their jobs, in whatever they do. I pray that you may bless their families, and that you may also help them to remember and to do all the research they have to do for this honor. Give us a good night of rest. It's all the things I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, Pastor Kevin. Hope to see you around.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.